Hi guys, so I made some homemade hamster treats today and they turned out like this. They worked really well, so I thought I'd do a video and show you guys how I've made them. So the things that you'll need to make the homemade treats are, well, this video is either for hamster treats or you can do it for your gerbils as well. So if it's for the hamsters, use your hamster food, and if it's for gerbils, just use your gerbil food. So I'm going to make some more for my hamster Peanut. So this is just his usual muesli mix. Next thing you need are some porridge oats, and these are just natural rolled oats. You need some plain flour, some honey and an egg, and then these other things are just like optional. So I'm going to add some sulatanas in, so you can either use like sulatanas, raisins, currants, some bird seed. So these just have like sunflower seeds in and other sorts of seeds. I'm going to use some creamy porridge. This is just baby porridge. And other things that you can use are just like little pieces of fruit and vegetables, or some like cheerios, which are like the breakfast cereals. So it all depends what your hamster or gerbil likes. Yeah, and then other things that you need is a mixing bowl. I'm going to be using this. Millie! The postman just posted a letter through the door and she started barking. I'm going to be using this like food processor thing, but it crushes things, so if you haven't got one of these you can just use a bowl and a rolling pin, and that will be to crush the hamster food. And then you just need some measuring spoons, a spoon to mix it, and then your baking tin. So these are all the things that you need. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is measure out your hamster or gerbil food. So I'm going to measure 3 tablespoons of the food. I'm going to put it into the mixer or grinder, whatever you want to call it. And this is just to break it down into smaller, manageable pieces. So that's 3 tablespoons. And if you haven't got one of these, just use a bowl and a rolling pin and just crush it like that. So I'm just going to put the top on. If I can get it on. There we go. Okay, so that'll do. You don't want to do it too finely, just so the pieces are a bit smaller. And get the top off it. There we go. So you just want to pour that into your bowl. So now the pieces just look like that. Next thing you want to add is 1 teaspoon of the porridge oats. Just 1 teaspoon of that. Next thing you want to add is 1 teaspoon of plain flour. So I'm just going to add all the dry ingredients in first. That's 1 teaspoon of plain flour. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of birdseed. So that's that. And just mix it all together so it's all combined. Okay, so the next thing you want to add are the sultanas or raisins. But if you're using like cheerios or something like that, add them in instead. I'm just using 1 teaspoon of that as well. Just mix all them around. Okay, so that's all the dry ingredients mixed up. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is add your wet ingredients, which are the baby porridge, honey, and I've cracked the egg now. So I'm just going to use the egg white and not the egg yolk. So there's about 2 to 3 teaspoons of egg white in there. So just get your spoon and measure out 1/2 teaspoon of the baby porridge. Mix it into there. And then 1/2 teaspoon of the honey. Come off the spoon. And then you want to put your egg white in there as well. And then just mix it all together and it should combine nicely. If it does get a bit too wet, either add a bit more of the hamster mix in, and if it's still too dry, add a tiny bit more honey or baby porridge in instead. So it's just kind of trial and error really. Okay, so it's coming along nicely. So you want the consistency, so when you like squidge it in your hand, it all sticks together. So I'm just going to mix this all up now. Okay, so now it's all mixed in nicely. And I forgot to say at the beginning that you need to preheat your oven. So I've preheated it to gas mark 2, which is about 150 if you've got an electric oven. So I'm just going to take this mixture now, and I'm going to put it into this baking tray. So this is just like a cupcake tray. I'm not going to put anything in the bottom. I've tried them and they don't stick, which is lucky. But if yours do stick, then you might want to try a tiny little bit of butter. But I wouldn't really recommend it. If they do stick, just form them into balls instead and put them onto just a flat tray, onto either greaseproof paper or some foil. You could either put some foil in the bottom of here as well and try that. So what you want to do is get a spoonful, just put it into the bottom of the tray, and then just squidge it all down, just so there's a nice layer at the bottom. There we go. Just flatten it down with the back of the spoon. And there's the hamster treat. So I'm just going to do the rest. I think I should get about 3 out of this mix. So I'll just do that now. Okay, so I got 3 out of the mixture. I didn't want to make too many just because I'd rather make them in smaller quantities. I would recommend that you give your hamster or gerbil one of these every, say, 2 weeks, because they are quite big. You can make them smaller if you want to, or you could either half them. But I'd recommend giving one every 2 weeks. So when you've done that, you just need to put them in the oven now. So I'll just open my oven. Oh, you can see Maisie down on the floor there. Hello! There's the shoes. Hello, Maisie! So just pop them in the oven. So as I said, it was on gas mark 2, which is about 150 degrees Celsius. And I just put them in there for about half an hour to 40 minutes, just so they've dried up. Just feel them in the middle. If they're still squidgy, just leave them in there for an extra 5-10 minutes. So when they're done, they should just be completely dry. So, yep, that's that. So the treats have been in there for about 40 minutes now. I checked them at 30 minutes and they were still pretty soft in the middle, so I've put them in for an extra 10 minutes. And I've just checked on them and they're completely dried out now, so I'll just get them out of the oven. Okay, just turn my oven off as well. So this is the finished result. They're still pretty hot, so I won't get them out of the tray, but actually I'll try and get one out. So as you can see, they just slide easily out of the tray, and if you can hear it, they sound really hard. So yeah, this is the finished result. So like if you went to a shop and bought one like this, you'll probably pay about £1, where this has cost me nothing really, because all the ingredients I already had at home. So yeah, that is the homemade hamster and gerbil treats. I'll put all the ingredients list down below, and I'll tell you the quantities and stuff like that. So if you've got any comments, comment down below as well. And thanks for watching. Bye.